Those who peer into rock pools and gaze up at starry skies and seek out places with strange names and curious histories and quietly ponder the vastness before them, asking why, where, and how. This is Curiosity Stream, where you can stream incredible documentaries from the world's best filmmakers, on demand and on any device anywhere in the world. Exclusive programs updated weekly that explore the big questions in science, technology, history, and nature that reward your curiosity and feed your brilliant, inquisitive mind. Monthly subscriptions start at just $2.99 a month. Long live the curious. Start your free trial today at curiositystream.com.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We want to welcome our viewers here in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington. We're following breaking news this hour. 11 people dead, 6 others wounded when a gunman opened fire on worshipers at a synagogue in Pittsburgh. The FBI agent in charge of calling it the most horrific crime scene he had ever seen. The gunman, identified by police as 46-year-old Robert Bowers. Police say he was not known to law enforcement before today's shooting. He was arrested alive but wounded, shot multiple times by officers who took him down. Authorities say they expect to file criminal charges shortly, possibly even later tonight. President Trump calls the gunman a sick person and says he wants the death penalty. Source tells CNN the gunman made
charges filed as part of this, and investigators will not have to look far for that evidence. We start the timeline at 9:49 this morning, just minutes before the first 911 calls came in, and a social media post, according to law enforcement sources to CNN, this man, 46-year-old Robert Bowers, posted online a reference to a just could come as early as tonight. That from the U.S. Attorney for the Western District.
As I said, so many people just looked at me when I was talking to them and said, like, we just can't, it's almost surreal to so many of us. Did you ever see any sort of behavior like this around your community? Does this surprise you?
It doesn't. I mean, I think in the U.S. we've become so used to mass shootings, which is just horrible. But in this community, no. There's no violence. It's not on the news regularly. It's not. There aren't people dying. It's a place where you walk as kids, and there are a lot of different communities here. There are Christians and Jews and a variety of Jews from the very Orthodox walking around, and there hasn't been an issue, and it just makes it really, really terrible. Really terrible.
Of course it does. Of course it does. What do you want people watching to know about the people here and how you're going to move forward from this day?
I think they should know that it's a very supportive community. Like I said, everyone knows somebody, and everyone's willing to lend a hand, and it's just a good place.
And you didn't know anyone personally affected, but you still clearly, it's impacted you deeply.
Yeah, I was right down the street from my house. Yeah. It's horrible. It's just really, really horrible.
Yeah. Well, we're sending you all the love. Thank you for being with us. You all take care. As I said, just such a tight-knit community here. A large Jewish population here, but a very diverse population. And a lot of people here saying that really that's what this is all about, is all different people coming together in this community, Wolf. So as you can tell, just from talking with Allison and others like her tonight, this community's heart is broken.
It certainly is. Please pass along our love as well. Jessica Dean on the scene for us. You know what? I want to just listen in for a moment. They're singing at this vigil right now. Let's listen.
Sorry about that. I was going to get your camera. Thank you.
All right, they're singing a classical Hebrew song, Hine Matavu Banaim. It's a very well-known Hebrew song. At this vigil, religious leaders throughout the community members, they've all gotten together to remember those who were murdered. Today, let's bring in our next guest. Bill Peduto is the mayor of Pittsburgh. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. I feel awful that we're meeting under these circumstances, but first of all, how are you dealing? How are you coping with all of this?
Well, there's a lot of support, Wolf, and it's all throughout this community. The Jewish community in Pittsburgh has had a historical role as leaders going back all the way to the mid-18th century, and it's a community that's well connected throughout Pittsburgh and southwestern Pennsylvania. So, as the last person was saying, we all know somebody that's involved personally, and we're leaning on one another right now through compassion and love.
Have you been in touch, Mayor, with some of the family members of those who were killed and injured?
I have. We set up 2 centers for the family members and those that had questions. I took some time to go and just to talk to them. And I just have to tell you, this whole day has been heartbreaking, but there's nothing even close to that part of this day.
And we're told all 11 who were murdered were adults, no children, even though there were children there at the service at the synagogue this morning. All adults. I know they haven't released the names, they haven't released the ages, anything along those lines, but can you share with us any thoughts about these 11?
Yeah, people that I know. Yeah, it's the information we'll be sharing with the public tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Really strong insistence by the FBI that we identify everybody with 100% accuracy before giving out any information for the family's sake.
Was there a history of anti-Semitism in your community as far as you know? I know there's always some anti-Semitism among fringe elements out there, but was there heightened concern in recent days, weeks, months?
No. There's anti-Semitism throughout this world. There's anti-Semitism throughout this nation. And I think that there have been some people that were building off of it almost like fuel. And there was no warning sign that we had that we would be experiencing any type of act against our Jewish community or any community. It was just another Saturday in October in Pittsburgh, and it ended up in one of the worst days in our city's history.
Yeah, it's so sad. I know there are several synagogues in Pittsburgh, Jewish community centers, Jewish schools. I assume you're tightening security at those locations.
Of course we are. We're also tightening security at our mosques and at Islamic centers and any other group that has been targeted out in recent weeks or months that would feel insecure or would need additional security. There are federal officials on their way to Pittsburgh. The FBI is sending a lot of different agents here. They'll be working with our local law enforcement. The county and the state, through Governor Wolf, have provided officers and troopers to be here in Pittsburgh to help our neighboring communities. When we had to send every ambulance in our city out here not knowing what to expect, they voluntarily sent their ambulances to cover city neighborhoods. And in fact, 14 of our medics who weren't even supposed to come to work today showed up so they could fill 7 additional ambulances. You know, in Pittsburgh, there's a lot of discussion about how we're a sports town or that we have this team mentality. When it comes to tragedies like today, we show what that black and gold really means. It's the effort to support one another, and that's why we'll get by. We're stronger than hate.
Well, we're with you, Mayor. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. God bless everyone over there. Our deepest, deepest condolences, and may those who died rest in peace. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Wolf.
We have some chilling audio we want to share with you right now. It's radio chatter between the first responders and police dispatchers as SWAT teams desperately search for the shooter inside the Tree of Life Synagogue.
Patrol at the front door. We got to evacuate some of these hostages. Received request for patrol at the front door, evacuating hostages. We have a spent magazine. Looks like to a high-powered AK, middle hallway off the 1-4 corner. I have a description. Go ahead, send it. Tall white male, short hair, light blue shirt, jeans. Again, that's tall white male, short hair, light blue shirt, jeans. I got one alive. We're evacuating one right now. Still alive. We have at least 4 down in the atrium. DOA at this time. Was there earlier intel that he may be in the basement? I had a report of at least one victim in the basement. Additional 4 victims. 4 victims. Second floor atrium off the front hall. Total of 8 down, 1 rescued at this time. What's your status in the basement?
Working problems. We have the bottom of the stairwell clear to the left. Working room to the right. We have rifle cases in here of blood.
Very chilling indeed. Art Roderick is here as a CNN law enforcement analyst. Also with us, Josh Campbell, former supervisory special agent with the FBI. Art, this killer, he posted a lot of hate speech online just 5 minutes, in fact, before he actually went into the synagogue, referring to Hayas, which is a Jewish refugee advocacy group. He wrote, "Hayas likes to bring in invaders that kill our people. I can't sit by and watch my people get slaughtered. Screw your optics. I'm going in." How valuable to investigators, law enforcement, the FBI, are all of these social media posts?
They're very valuable because they'll establish the charges that are going to come forthcoming regarding the hate crime. So what you have here is, it seems to me, based on that type of social media posting, that he was actually outside of the synagogue at the time, because it's very contemporaneous with him going in and starting shooting. So he actually posted that probably from his cell phone right before he went in and started slaughtering those poor people in the synagogue.
Shows motivation.
Shows motivation.
Shows intent,
right.
and it specifically shows hate.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what they're going to be working on. Josh, I want you to listen to something that President Trump said earlier today, shortly after the shooting.
This is a case where if they had an armed guard inside, they might have been able to stop him immediately. And maybe there would have been nobody killed except for him, frankly. So it's a very, very, very difficult situation.
So what do you think? Would an armed person inside the synagogue have made a difference in this instance? This guy comes in with 3 pistols plus an automatic rifle.
Well, I'll answer that in 2 parts. Well, first of all, it's important to understand that those comments that were made by the president were made just after the event started. We were covering it the moment we first got word, and he was quickly out there speculating about what was going on, presumably without having any information about what had actually happened. He did get a briefing, we heard, but again, it was so early on that the details were still coming out, yet he was speculating. So I think that, a lot of us have been commenting on that, coming out so quickly and trying to speculate and bring politics into it just, doesn't seem very helpful. I will say this, Wolf, this is a day when the entire country is grieving for the Jewish community here in the United States. When he talks about an armed guard inside a synagogue, we don't know what the dynamic was as far as the security posture. But one thing I do know, Wolf, is when I go to my church, a Protestant church, I often pass synagogues on the way, or when I'm out on a Saturday, I pass synagogues in my neighborhood, and there is always a large presence of security outside. And it says 2 things, Wolf. First, it says that, I'll say this, that there is a religion in the United States that is continually under threat, the Jewish community. And, those of us who don't see this every day have to really appreciate what it's like to go to a place where you're exercising your faith, where you're going to worship, but you have to pass someone with a weapon on the way in. It's that constant reminder that these threats are out there. So again, we don't know what the security posture was inside and outside. Neither does the president right now. But I think it's far too soon to start weighing in and, you know, the whole argument, well, a good guy with a gun would have stopped a bad guy with a gun. So many in my former business and law enforcement have constantly said that that is not a panacea because, you know, law enforcement officers are highly trained. They go through training where they fire thousands and thousands of rounds in order to get to a certain level of expertise. We shouldn't require the general public to do that, just to go about their business and to go about, you know, worshiping their faith. So I think our focus right now should be on gathering the facts, and I would urge our leaders to do the same.
Yeah, well said. Josh Campbell, Art Roderick, want both of you to stick around. We're going to have a lot more special coverage right after this.
Everyone knows the five senses.
But what if we told you?
There's more. An elusive sensation.
Coaxed out only under ideal circumstances.
We can't fully describe it, but you'll know it.
When you feel it.
We call it the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in to lease a 2018 BMW X3 xDrive 30i for $479 a month.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein and 26 vitamins and minerals. Ensure, now up to 30 grams of protein for strength and energy.
Hello, Garnier Micellar Water. Goodbye wipes. Tiny but mighty bubbles gently lift makeup like a magnet without harsh rubbing. Is your makeup wipe this gentle? Mighty on makeup, gentle on skin. Forget the wipes. Garnier Micellar Water.
Cancer. It's very personal. Each of us is different, and each cancer is different. How it reacts, how it evades and adapts, and how we attack it. That's why at Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we use diagnostic tools that help us better understand what drives each person's cancer. This is what we mean by outsmarting cancer. And for some, it may uncover more effective treatment options. Like Christine Bray. After battling ovarian cancer for several years, her test results revealed a potential treatment not considered previously. A drug therapy that targeted her tumor. Today, Christine's metastatic cancer is in remission. This is precision cancer treatment. Because at Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we're not just fighting cancer, we're outsmarting it. Visit cancercenter.com and schedule an appointment with one of our cancer care specialists today.
Whoa, whoa.
Daddy, Mama's on the phone. Hi. Hi. How are you guys?
Got an idea for an invention? Don't know what to do next? Call my friends at InventHelp.
InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. You can meet with an InventHelp representative who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. And InventHelp's databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to review new ideas, like yours.
Are you ready to put InventHelp in your corner?
Call now, 1-800-492-4211.
On the next Parts Unknown.
So I'm ready anytime.
Go behind the scenes with the people who knew Tony best, the crew of Parts Unknown.
The #1 question I get at parties, did you eat all the stuff that Tony ate?
Never before seen footage and stories from around the world.
Are you filming?
Getting a 6-person crew to the South Pole was one of the hardest.
Take 2? We don't do take 2s.
It really was the adventure of a lifetime.
New Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown, tomorrow at 9 on CNN.
A vigil has been underway now for the victims of the shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. 11 people were murdered, 6 were wounded, including 4 police officers. I want to bring in now Congressman Mike Doyle. He represents the district where the Tree of Life Synagogue is located. Congressman, our hearts go out to you, to everyone in your community. How are they dealing with this? How are they reacting?
Well, it's been a tough day in Pittsburgh, Wolf.
but this is a very strong, vibrant community here in Squirrel Hill. A lot of us are just shocked and numb by this, but the vigil we just had this evening that was led by a bunch of students from one of the local high schools here in the area was very emotional but very inspiring. This is a community that's strong, and we're here for each other, and we're going to get through this. But you know, it's just one of those things you don't think is going to happen where you live. But unfortunately, this kind of mass shooting and these hate crimes are happening all too often all across our country.
What can you share with us about the investigation?
Well, we had a briefing with the FBI at 4 o'clock this afternoon. There's still a lot of investigating to go. There's a very active crime scene that's been cordoned off, and the FBI and all of their forensic experts will be scouring that site tonight and all through the next day till they get everything that they need. We know that the shooter was clearly an anti-Semite, a disturbed person. This guy brought an AR-15 and a Glock and 2 other handguns to the synagogue, and ruthlessly murdered 11 people as they were in a house of worship, and then encountered the police officers who fired at him, and he managed to wound 2 police officers and 2 SWAT members before they wounded him and cornered him up on the 3rd floor of the synagogue, and eventually got him to surrender. He is being charged, I believe, this evening by the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Pittsburgh on multiple counts, and the investigation continues as we speak.
And is the assumption that he was acting alone?
Yes, they think he was acting alone, and they don't think there's any further threats to the community at this time, although precautions are being taken. There's a lot of services tomorrow taking place in Pittsburgh, and there'll be vigils, and the city of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County and the state police are all making preparations to make sure that those areas are secure.
Can only imagine how awful a guy comes in with an assault rifle, 3 pistols, goes to where men and women are praying their early morning Sabbath service, and I assume most of the men and the women were wearing prayer shawls, and he just randomly starts opening fire, killing these people, injuring others. What's your message, Congressman, to those members of your community who are hurting and are mourning?
Well, like I said, our hearts are broken for the Jewish community here in Pittsburgh, but when they are attacked, they attack us all. Pittsburgh's a very strong and united community, and we're all here together to support one another and to support our friends in the Jewish community here in Pittsburgh, and we'll get past this. But you know, it just makes you wonder what has to happen in this country before we start to have some common sense about guns. I just don't understand why any civilian needs a military weapon. Those weapons are designed to do one thing: kill a lot of people quickly. When you hear about mass shootings in the United States, and you don't hear it so much in other countries, it's because there's just too much access to these kinds of military-style weapons that are designed to do one thing: kill lots of people quickly. And I think they have no place in civilian hands. And my hope is that people across America start to understand that that's part of the problem. It's not all of the problem, but it's a big part of the problem. And hopefully are communicating that to the people who represent them, so that we can finally get some common sense gun safety laws in this country. And then we just got to tone the temperature down in this country too. People from the very top to those of us in everyday life need to look in the mirror and ask themselves, what are they doing to unite the country, not divide the country? And we've got to start thinking about that every day too.
Congressman Doyle, well said. Thank you so much for joining us, and please pass along our love to everybody in Pittsburgh right now. We're going to have a lot more on the breaking news right after this.
This is actually under your budget. Yeah, and when you move in, Geico could help you save on renter's insurance.
Yep, Geico helped me with renter's insurance, too.
The walls seem a bit thin.
They are, and Craig practices the accordion every night.
Says the guy who sings karaoke by himself.
I'm a very shy singer.
You're tone deaf!
Yeah, shall we move on to the next one?
It's a great building. You'll love it here.
We have mixers every Thursday.
Geico. It's easy to switch and save on homeowners and renters insurance.
This is the not-for-sale Kia Forte drift car with a blistering top speed and excessive amount of horsepower. And this is the totally redesigned 2019 Kia Forte. With an 8-inch touchscreen and professional race car driver Colette Davis to demo it. It doesn't have to make sense. Right now, lease the 2019 Forte LXS for $169 a month.
Grubhub is a delivery app that lets you order from all your favorite local restaurants. And yeah, it is that easy. Grubhub, restaurants you love, delivered.
I'm Ken Jacobus. I'm the owner of Good Start Packaging. We distribute environmentally friendly packaging for restaurants, and we've grown substantially. So I switched to the Spark Cash Card from Capital One. I earn unlimited 2% cash back on everything I buy. And last year, I earned $36,000 in cash back. That's right, $36,000, which I used to offer health insurance to my employees. My unlimited 2% cash back is more than just a perk. It's our health care. Can I say it? What's in your wallet?
Stop dancing around the pain that's keeping you awake. Advil PM gives tossing and turning a rest and silences aches and pains. Fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer with Advil PM.
Countdown to Election Day with the forecast from CNN. Who will win control of the House and Senate?
So let's take a look at what possibly could happen.
Key races updated daily. The forecast with Harry Enton. Only on CNN and at CNN.com/forecast.
Not getting enough cash back with that credit card? Turn to the nerds. Want to invest that bonus? Turn to the nerds. Looking for the perfect mortgage? Turn to the nerds. Oops, sorry about that. Hey there, need a travel rewards card? Turn. Auto loan? 2. Want a lower interest rate? The nerds. The experts at NerdWallet make it easy to make smart money moves. Compare credit cards, mortgages, savings accounts, and more at nerdwallet.com.
Promote what makes your business great with Vistaprint. Whether it's a business card, a banner, or a postcard, we have the paper stocks, sizes, and design options to create marketing that's right for your business. Give it a try with 500 standard business cards starting at just $9.99 when you use code VP500 at Vistaprint.com.
There is a possibility that we might be able to communicate with Grandma.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We offer a free book on mesothelioma. Call for the free book and receive so much more. Call 1-800-831-3700.
11 people murdered, several others wounded today in a sudden and senseless mass killing at a Jewish synagogue in Pittsburgh. These are the people of that city's Squirrel Hill neighborhood, not far from the synagogue, and where very many of Pittsburgh's Jewish families live. They're holding a vigil right now. People of all faiths, they're holding hands, they've got candles. They're showing their resolve. They're sharing their grief on this terrible, tragic day. CNN's Jean Casares is in Pittsburgh for us. She's over at one of the hospitals where at least some of the wounded are being treated. Jean, the mayor of Pittsburgh just told us a few minutes ago that they will release the names of those 11 who were killed tomorrow. What do we know in the meantime?
That's right. In the meantime, we know that there are 6 surviving victims. We are right outside the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. This is a level 1 trauma center. There is another level 1 trauma center in this city with the University of Pittsburgh systems, and these are where the victims are. Here's the update that we have at this point. There are 2 that are in critical condition. First of all, a 70-year-old male. He had multiple gunshot injuries to his torso involving major organs. Now, at the press conference several hours ago, they said that this man was in his 2nd surgery of the day. I just spoke with the vice president in charge of communications for the hospital systems. He has no update as to whether that surgery has concluded or what the status is. He is in critical condition. The other is the 55-year-old officer in critical condition at this point, multiple gunshots to his extremities. Additionally, a 61-year-old female victim currently in the hospital at this point at the Level 1 Trauma Center. Also, we know that one of the police officers has actually been released. We do not know exactly what police officer, but one has been released. And the 27-year-old police officer is right here at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center Mercy, where we are, and he is currently in the hospital with soft tissue injuries. Wolf?
Jean Casares, thank you very much for that update. President Trump was quick to strongly condemn this horrific attack, telling a rally of young farmers, and I'm quoting the president now, it's a terrible thing what's going on with hate in our country. He says he will visit Pittsburgh soon to show his support.
With one unified voice, we condemn the historic evil of anti-Semitism and every other form of evil. And unfortunately, evil comes in many forms. And we come together as one American people.
The president also praised the courage of the first responders. He called for the death penalty for crimes like this one. He chose not to cancel a political rally this evening in Illinois, saying he would not let people that are evil change our lives. That's a quote. Boris Sanchez is joining us now from the rally with more on the president's response. What else has he been saying, Boris?
Hey there, Wolf. Yeah, President Trump acknowledged that he considered canceling tonight's event in southern Illinois. The president calling it an obligation earlier today. It's one of more than a dozen campaign stops the president has made in October campaigning for Republican candidates across the country. And when he started talking to his supporters, he told them that they could not make evil people important. He then said that the assault today in Pittsburgh was an assault on humanity that struck at the heart of all Americans. For the second time this week, the president called on Americans to come together in the face of domestic terror. Though before he took the stage here, he did point out to reporters that the shooter in today's attack was not a Trump supporter. Listen to this.
This was no support for me. This was somebody that actually he was no supporter of mine. And his anti-Semitic tweets, people have seen them. Very anti-Semitic man, and what his thought process is sick. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. We have to bring back the death penalty for people like this. People that do this, you have to bring back the death penalty. This is the worst form of terror.
How does that affect your feelings about your responsibility to set a tone?
Again, tone is very important. We want to win, and we're going to win.
Hey there, Wolf. And a quick note about tone. The president actually told supporters here that he would tone it down. They responded with boos, and he continued with some of his common refrains, attacks on Democrats, etc. And lastly, the question about where this may move forward politically from here. President Trump was specifically asked as he departed the White House today about the potential of passing gun control legislation to prevent an attack like this from happening again in the future. He dismissed that idea. Instead, he said that perhaps the synagogue should have had armed guards and that today's assault may have turned out differently if that was the case. Well,
yeah, you're right. This shooter clearly was no supporter of the president. We looked at his anti-Semitic media, social media posts. One of them says Trump is surrounded by, and then he has a derogatory word for Jews. Trump is a globalist, not a nationalist. There is no MAGA, make America great again, as long as there is and then another derogatory word for Jews, Jew infestation. So he clearly did not like the President of the United States. All right, Boris, thank you very much. Our special coverage continues right after this.
Endless Shrimp is on at Red Lobster. For just $15.99, you get all the shrimp you want, any way you want them. And now, savory Parmesan shrimp scampi is back. New sesame ginger shrimp is here too. But hurry in, Endless Shrimp ends November 18th.
Oh!
People with type 2 diabetes are excited about the potential of once-weekly Ozempic. In a study with Ozempic, a majority of adults lowered their blood sugar and reached an A1C of less than 7 and maintained it.
Oh, under 7?
And you may lose weight. In the same one-year study, adults lost on average up to 12 pounds.
Oh, up to 12 pounds?
A 2-year study showed that Ozempic does not increase the risk of major cardiovascular events like heart attack, stroke, or death.
Oh, no increased risk?
Oh.
Ozempic should not be the first medicine for treating diabetes or for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Do not share needles or pens. Don't reuse needles. Do not take Ozempic if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if you are allergic to Ozempic. Stop taking Ozempic and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, itching, rash, or trouble breathing. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis. Tell your doctor if you have diabetic retinopathy or vision changes. Taking Ozempic with a sulfonylurea or insulin may increase the risk for low blood sugar. Common side effects are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, and constipation. Some side effects can lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
I discovered the potential with Ozempic.
Ask your healthcare provider if Ozempic is right for you.
Sometimes a day at the ballpark is more than just a day at the ballpark.
All military members stand and be recognized.
No matter where or when you served, T-Mobile stands ready to serve you.
A country divided. A critical election. A crucial question. Who will win the chance to shape America's future? 36 governorships, 35 Senate races, 435 House races. This election night, the stakes could not be higher. And the only place to watch is CNN. Election Night in America. Special live coverage Tuesday, November 6th on CNN.
How do you feel when someone is looking over your shoulder? Not all snoopers can be seen. Cyber criminals can steal your sensitive information. Hackers can intercept your data on public Wi-Fi. But not with the NordVPN app. It helps protect your privacy by encrypting your online data. And it's so easy to use. NordVPN, your shield from online snoopers. Download and enjoy trusted internet security and privacy.
It's a noisy, chaotic, confusing world. If only everyone could see it more clearly. Separate fake from fact. If only we all understood what's really going on. The world needs another Economist reader. And now you can try The Economist in print, free of charge. Visit free.economist.com, call 1-855-500-0015, or text Economist to 99000.
Anderson Cooper 360, Monday night at 8 Eastern on CNN.
The community of Pittsburgh mourning at a vigil tonight for the victims of the deadly mass shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue. This morning, on the same day as Saturday morning, Shabbat Sabbath services were beginning. A man opened fire, killing 11 people, wounding 6, including 4 police officers. At the time of the shooting, there were 3 different congregations holding their services inside the synagogue. The suspected gunman is 46-year-old Robert Bowers. Bowers had an extensive anti-Semitic digital footprint, and he made anti-Jewish comments during the shooting. CNN's Miguel Marquez is outside the suspected gunman's house in Allegheny County over there in Pittsburgh. Miguel, so what more can you tell us about this suspected killer?
Yeah, so we're just south of Pittsburgh. This is an area that police have blocked off for several hours today. The bomb squad just left. Local and federal officials are in a small apartment where he either lived part-time or full-time. There are other locations around this area where he also seemed to have connections to. It's all coming rather clear that in the last 20 days or so, 17 days ago, he posted about the caravan and his concerns about the caravan that was heading up from Mexico. He had apparently seen a video from HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. Among other things, they they settle refugees of all types, of all nationalities, of all religions in different cities in the U.S. They do have a presence here in Pittsburgh. He posted that video, and when shortly before entering that synagogue, posted Hayas is a Jewish refugee advocacy group that and mentioned a national refugees Shabbat that was happening last weekend in an area close to where this synagogue was. And one other thing he posted in that same post was, "Can't sit by and watch my people get slaughtered. Screw your optics, I'm going in." So this is somebody who clearly police are not taking any chances. They had a bomb squad in there. They are going through his apartment now, and we expect to hear more about what they are finding in there and about his life very soon, hopefully either tonight or early tomorrow. Wolf?
And we'll see if he's formally charged tonight, as well as the authorities suggested that would probably be the case. All right, Miguel, we're going to come back to you once you get more information. Thank you so much. Joining us now, the former FBI counterterrorism agent Tim Clemente and retired FBI supervisory special agent James Gagliano. Tim, take us behind the scenes a little bit right now. What are investigators doing?
The first thing we're going to try and figure out is, did he act alone? It's one of the most important things. We have him in custody. He's not going to harm anybody else, hopefully. So are there other people that were conspirators with him that planned this attack, helped him get the weapons, the ammunition, pick the target, any of that? So going through his social media, going through all his personal belongings in his car and his home will tell us a lot of that. Hopefully he's got a digital product there. We can access a phone, a computer, or something else that can give us a broader depth into this digital history.
And James, the anti-Semitic posts that were all over the place that he was posting or railing against Jews, that's a significant element as well in this investigation.
Absolutely, Wolf, and there's a clear distinction here between what a hate crime is and charging someone with terrorism. Terrorism can actually be charged at the state level. A hate crime is exclusively under federal purview. Now, it's a crime motivated by prejudice. What type of prejudice? It could be racial, ethnic, gender, sexual orientation, or in this case, clearly religious. And it typically involves violence. Look, I have a feeling that right now, with the amount of information that was able to be gleaned, to Tim's point, off of that social media imprint, and the fact that this guy made statements there, as well as we're hearing that there were statements made during this heinous act, I believe investigators are going to have enough to not only charge him with this, but send him away for a long time, and he could possibly face the death penalty for this.
Yeah, I'm sure I suspect he almost certainly will. Tim, this suspect also posted a lot of pictures of his guns. He did have an active license to carry a firearm. All of us are a lot smarter with hindsight, but should that have been some sort of warning?
Well, you know, what I always say after these circumstances is none of these people exist in a vacuum. There are people that knew him. There's people who sold him guns, sold him ammunition. Were they aware of this personality, this persona being beyond just an extremist, hate-filled? In his heart and in his head, this man had nothing but hate and animus towards everyone apparently but himself. And so someone knew that. Does he have family and friends that were nearby that were aware of this boiling over hatred? I mean, clearly the social media post that he did right before he started the attack was meant for an audience. Who was the audience for that?
You heard, James, the FBI agent in charge say that he was not known to law enforcement. I suspect that means he had no criminal background.
That's quite possible, Wolf. We know, again, he was active on social media. Important distinction. I listened to the special agent in charge from Pittsburgh today during the press conference, and he described the weapons as 3 pistols and an assault rifle. Now, some people argue it's a distinction without a difference, but an assault rifle is illegal. That is generally an automatic weapon, whereas an assault weapon can be semi-automatic. So tomorrow, as more details begin to come out, we're going to find some things out, whether or not the weapons that were used were legally purchased. We know he did have purchased legal weapons in the past, but we don't know if those were attached to this actual crime itself.
All right, James Gagliano, Tim Clemente, guys, thank you very much. Let's take another very quick break. We'll be right back.
If you're 65 or older, even if you're healthy, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. In severe cases, pneumococcal pneumonia can put you in the hospital. It may take weeks to recover, making you miss out on the things you enjoy most. Just one dose of the Prevnar 13 vaccine can help protect you from pneumococcal pneumonia. It's not a yearly shot. Prevnar 13 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 13 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Don't get Prevnar 13 if you have had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most common side effects were pain, redness and swelling at the injection site, limited arm movement, fatigue, headache, muscle pain, joint pain, less appetite, vomiting, fever, chills, and rash. Prevention begins with Prevnar 13. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 13.
Heavenly hand cream. Heavenly hand cream? My hands get so dry and cracked, I need serious relief. That's why I use O'Keeffe's Working Hands. It's America's #1 selling hand cream for guaranteed relief of dry, cracked hands. Thanks to O'Keeffe's, I got my hands back.
Heartburn and gas? Fight both fast. Tums Chewy Bites with Gas Relief. All-in-one relief of heartburn and gas. Tums Chewy Bites with Gas Relief.
Come with us to a new world. Deeper than the ocean. As unfathomable as the universe. A world that doesn't exist outside you, but within you. Where breakthrough science is replacing chemotherapy with immunotherapy. Where we can now attack the causes of disease, not just the symptoms. Where medicines once produced for all are now designed to fit you. Today, 140,000 biopharmaceutical researchers go boldly to discover treatments and cures unimaginable 10 years ago and are on the verge of more tomorrow.
Got an idea for an invention? Don't know what to do next? Call my friends at InventHelp.
InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. You can meet with an InventHelp representative who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. And InventHelp's databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to review new ideas, like yours.
Are you ready to put InventHelp in your corner?
Call now, 1-800-492-4211.
King, Tapper, Zakaria, Stelter. The best Sunday morning lineup is only on CNN.
The State of our Union is just trying to keep up.
Tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m.
On the next Parts Unknown.
So I'm ready anytime.
Go behind the scenes with the people who knew Tony best, the crew of Parts Unknown.
It really was the adventure of a lifetime.
New Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown. Tomorrow at 9 on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by InventHelp. Call 1-800-900-0202.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Then call InventHelp now for free information.
The Anti-Defamation League believes today's assault on the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh constitutes the deadliest attack on the Jewish community in U.S. history. It issued a statement saying, and I'm quoting now, "We are actively engaged with law enforcement to support their investigation and call on authorities to investigate this as a hate crime. It is simply unconscionable for Jews to be targeted during worship on a Sabbath morning, and unthinkable that it would happen in the United States of America in this day and age." Jeff Finkelstein is the president and CEO of the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh. Jeff is joining us right now. Jeff, first of all, how's your community doing?
The community, thanks, Wolf. The community is reeling. I came a few blocks away from the synagogue this morning when I was informed that there was potentially a shooting there, and was there for several hours. And we've been in our Jewish community center most of the afternoon through the evening. Lots of families who are concerned because their loved ones were in the synagogue at the time.
The ADL says anti-Semitic incidents here in the United States have been on the rise. Has there been fear that something like this could actually happen in your community in Pittsburgh?
I don't think there's been fear of an anti-Semitic incident, but we try to stay vigilant at all times, trying to train all of our agencies, synagogues, institutions on all the right practices to make sure that everyone stays safe yet secure.
So what are you going to do now?
Secure,
I assume you're going to intensify security at various Jewish centers, Jewish community centers, Jewish schools, synagogues throughout Pittsburgh, throughout the area.
You know, we have a Jewish community security director that we brought on board almost 2 years ago. And while he's very busy today with everything that's happening, that's what he'll be looking at in the days to come, what we might need to do or beef up.
President Trump says he will be visiting Pittsburgh soon. What can he say to reassure the Jewish community?
Yeah, I have actually heard the rumors about President Trump coming. I haven't watched any news all day. You know, I think it's just important that the federal government be with us to help with what they do now. There are security grants that come through where the Jewish community is able to secure money to harden facilities. I think those are really important things that they can do.
The president also suggested today that the tragedy could have been averted or at least reduced if there had been armed guards at the synagogue this morning. What's your reaction to that?
You know, I don't have a reaction to that right now, and I don't want to make comments on guns or not guns.